Creating a title block sounds simple until you're staring at a blank sheet, unsure of what information to include, where to put it, or how to make it consistent across your set. And let's be honest, most existing title blocks out there feel clunky, outdated, or just don't fit the way we actually work today. I'm David, a US-based architect, and in this walkthrough, I'll show you how I built my own custom title block faster than in AutoCAD, clearer and way more flexible. We'll break down what to include, how to structure a title block for team clarity, and how I use Rayon design to build reusable, professional-grade title blocks in minutes. Rayon is the fastest 2D drawing tool for architects and designers. It's web-based and collaborative. So you can open the link to my free template in the description below to follow along with this tutorial. Let's dive in. So what does a title block include and why does it matter? Title blocks aren't just a formality. They hold essential project information like the drawing title, date, author, and version, helping everyone stay aligned and up to date. But when there's no standardization, they can quickly become a bottleneck, especially on a team project where mismatched formats or missing details can slow everything down. A good title block includes the project title, general notes that outline key info like codes, conventions, or dimensions, the drawing name so viewers know exactly what they're looking at, and a drawing number for easy tracking and referencing across the set. This will typically be placed in a sheet legend at the beginning of the drawing set. It also includes a revision number to show changes and history, the date of the revision for version control, and who drew and approved the drawing for accountability. Lastly, company details like firm name, logo, and contact info. Add professionalism and ensure the origin of the work is clear. It all seems simple until you're managing a 50-page set and manually updating every single title block. That's why I use Rayon Design, a free, lightweight tool that lets you batch edit title blocks using smart metadata. I've been using it instead of AutoCAD for years to work faster and cleaner. With just a few clicks, you can update info across your entire set. Let me show you how. It's quick and easy to set up. To create your own title block, I recommend one of the following flexible options. For each of them, you're welcome to create a free Rayon Design account. First, import an existing title block and upgrade it by adding smart metadata fields. This lets you input consistent project info across multiple sheets with just a click. Next, you can create a title block from scratch, incorporating metadata from the start for a fully customized and reusable solution. Another great option is to browse Rayon's block library, which includes over 10,000 blocks. These built-in title blocks are ready to use and fully editable, allowing you to tweak the layout, add your logo, update fields, or align with your firm's graphic standards. All right, so first let's take a look at importing. So let me first go over to our paper canvas. And so here we've got a title block already kind of set up, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna import a DWG file. And I've got this sample title block set up. This was actually created in AutoCAD, and so this is exactly the kind of process that we might be looking at, for a real project. So I'll just go to import, and now it's going to ask me to scale this, and so I know this is set up for a 24 by 36 size sheet. So that is not in fact 36 feet, that's 36 inches, and I'm going to say continue. And then it's going to ask me for the insertion point, and I'll just go ahead and click there, close out that. And sometimes this goes a little bit off, but that's easy to find. And now I've got this title block set up, and I can just go and I'll go to my page tool, and I'll just go to that grab point, and there we're all set up with that title block. And I can also always go in here and, start to change the address or do whatever I need to do. And there's a few more steps that, like creating this, making this into a block and all of that, which we'll go over as we get into how to create your own custom title block. All right, and now for really more of the fun part. So creating your own custom title block. So I'm just going to do this completely from scratch. I've already created my own title block, which, basically, I want to show you how to recreate this just totally from scratch. So first, I'm going to go ahead and create a page. And same as before, I'll make this 24 by 36. All right. And I'm just going to line that up so that everything is nice. And then, one of the nice things about Rayon is that you're assuming that these are being viewed as PDFs rather than black and white plots. And so I'll go ahead and I can start to add some shades and color if I want, all that. So it just gets to be a little bit nicer. So I'm going to do a 4-inch width. And I'm going to go ahead and add a gray fill, and maybe that was looking good before. So I'll kind of keep that. Obviously I want to take off that stroke for the surround. So that's gone, and that's all looking pretty nice. And then the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and import my logo. And so I know I've got that in here. And let's see, I think that's looking good. So then I can just drag this and size it. And that's maybe looking a little big, so let's see, maybe 3 inches. And I'm going to bring it down another, I don't know, 1/2 inch or so. Let's see, and then I know I'm going to want to have some lines. So maybe I'll bring this, maybe 4 inches down. And I'll bring this in a little bit, 3 inches. And so you notice everything kind of snaps to that center line. That makes things really easy. And just to make sure my layers are all showing correctly, I'm going to go ahead and I'll add a layer for background, and then maybe another for just content. All right, and I'm going to bring this default layer up to the top. And let's see, I'll put this on the background layer, and everything else can go to content. And that way I know for sure that these elements, any element that I'm adding, is going to sit on top of this, this shaded area. All right, and next I need to add a text box because I need my address, and I'm not going to put my address here, but maybe I'll do street address, and I live in Sausalito, so do that. And then I can go ahead and change the font. I know I like Lexend, and this is looking pretty small, so let's see, maybe this wants to be a 1/4 inch. And I can center that here. I'm gonna make these all centered as well. That's looking a little big, so maybe 3/16 of an inch. We can start with that. We can always go ahead and adjust that later. All right, and next I know at the bottom I'm going to have my sheet number, which actually this is something, maybe I'll hold off on this. I'll do, maybe I'll do a placeholder for now. So I'll do a 0.0, and this is looking super small, so yeah, let's start with that. And let's see, I know we're gonna want to have another line separating this out, so maybe I'll do like 2 inches here. And then let me go and look and see what else we were doing here. So yeah, sheet number, scale, and the sheet title. So I can go add on, maybe a 1/2 inch for our scale, and then maybe a 1.25 inches. And these all, might want to see a little bit more information, so I'll do 3.5 inch width. All right, and if I want this to be centered, very easily just drag that there. All right, cool. And then I'll copy that up, and I think this will be a little bit smaller. So maybe I'll do a 1/2 inch there and see how that goes. And this can be sheet title. And one kind of nice thing, so see how I've got this set for centered, and then centered both vertically and horizontally. So say my sheet title winds up getting really long, like this is interior kitchen millwork details. Then I can go and, make this a set dimension, and then actually I probably want this to be a little bit taller, just in case I have some drawings going into three lines. So that's all super easy, and actually this is looking a little big, so maybe I'll bring this down a little bit more. What am I going for? 7/16. Yeah, that looks fine. And I'll change this back to sheet title. All right, and then let's see. I'm gonna bring this down. So I know we want kind of a signifier of what this is. And this is gonna go back to those alignments. Bring that, snap that to the top. Just bring down 16th inch. All right, same thing here. I'll do scale, and I'll just do as noted because I want that to just reference the drawing. And sheet number. All right, so that is all going pretty smooth. And then I know that we're going to have our title and our project title and address and all of that, as well as our version history. So, yep, that looks like I have everything I need. All right, and I'll actually use the array tool, and I'll start that as my starting point. So I want to do 20. And then it's going to ask me the distance. So maybe I want to do 3/8 of an inch. And then for the angle, just vertical. And I'll copy this up as well. And this can be our issued drawing sets. All right, so super simple. And I'm going to move this up 16th of an inch. All right, and I know here we need some vertical divisions for our sheet numbers. And let's see that 1/4 inch, no. All right, so I got a 1/2 inch there and maybe 2 inches here. And so then that gives me room to, start to I can get revision 1. And I definitely want this to be centered here, so I'll just go ahead and do that. That's fine. And then I can go here and start to do, this is maybe planning set. And then I can give it a date. So just do it that way. And looks like these are maybe a little further over than I want. But I can always go in and, tweak this stuff as I see fit. And next, I'm going to need the project title and all of that information. So I'll start with that sheet title. That seems good. And I'll just go ahead and rotate it that way. And it's nice to, line here. So let's see, I got that centered. So that is all looking good. And then same thing here. Project address. Maybe I'll align this up there at the bottom. And this one at the top. And this will be, the number. So that can be just those 7 digits. All right, and that is all looking pretty good. And then all I have to do is also then bring in my stamp. So same thing, I'll go in here and I'll put that in. And actually, while I'm importing I'm going to go ahead and import my signature as well. So that will make things really easy. And I know this is completely off on size, but we're going to bring these down together just to show you how that works really simply. And I'm actually going to group these. So now this is all moving together. All right, and let's see. First, I'll just quickly scale it down to there. That's looking still a little too big. So 2 inches, that looks nice. And there we go. All right, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make this whole thing into a block. And that's going to allow me, as I expand my sheet set, it's going to allow me to update just one instance of the title block, and that'll populate to all of the versions. So, and obviously there's a few things like the sheet title and number that I don't want to copy, but then actually while I'm at it, I'll change this to project title. But all the other information is going to populate, and that's because as I issue new drawing sets, then that'll just continue to populate. Or, a lot of times I will drag this off to the side, and I'll have, like a not for construction note, something like that. And so I can really easily just bring my stamp in and out of the drawings, depending on whether or not it's for an official issuance. So now that I've got this set up as a block, I'm actually going to title this. So I'll do DH title block. All right. And next, how do we go about showing these as kind of like, metadata that can be updated on a per sheet basis? So I can just go over to our properties panel under metadata and add an instance. And so I've already done this, and so it's going to actually show up down here. But if I didn't, I could just add a new metadata up here, and I could change the type of content and all that. So really easy to go ahead and do. But for now, I'll just go ahead and check these on. And that'll actually be important as we bring this into other projects to see, how this works. So sheet number, I'll go ahead and give this something different just so that we can see the difference. And I'll call that site plan. All right. And now we go in here, I'm going to delete that out and instance. And this is sheet title. So that automatically populates with that site plan. And then I'll do the same thing here. We'll go to instance and, did the wrong thing. And I'll go back down to sheet number. All right. And so now if I copy this whole thing over, then, hopefully you can see both of these at the same time. I can change this to, A 2.0, and I can change this to existing floor plans. And then that's all super easy to bring in. And then I can also, say I am doing another drawing set. I can do 2 and building permit submission. That is lookable. Do both. And I can update the date and all of that. And that will now have populated across over here. All right. And so now what if I want to see this on another project? Super easy. All I have to do is go up here and share, and then I can go to libraries and publish blocks. I already have this checked on, but now I can go to update. And now I can go to any other project. So here's back to that sample project we were looking at. And I can go over to my blocks library. And now this, that copy of Ranch House is available. And I'll go ahead and search for DH title block. And that'll just bring everything in. And you can kind of see I was actually pretty close in recreating that. And so here we're seeing our metadata tags are showing, as not found. And that's a super easy fix. It's simply because it's not checked in here. So I'll just go over to our metadata instances and I'll check these back on. And then I can go ahead and populate this as needed. So a 0.0 and just sheet title. And so I've actually already kind of done this on my own. So I've got my own library of title blocks and stamps. So for any of my projects, I can just go in here and I've got my title block, I've got my stamp. I also created this kind of presentation title block. And so this is, if I'm doing just kind of a couple of floor plan options, I can show that really easily to my clients. And lastly, you can use Rayon's own built-in libraries. And so if I go over to our blocks and just libraries, and I already searched for title blocks, so we can go and look at that. And here's a library of title blocks, or we can scroll through all of these. And so this just makes it really easy. It gives you a good starting point if you don't want to go through that whole process that we just covered. So you can just scroll through here, try anything that you want. And you can just drag it in, and I'll go ahead and make a page so that this is looking good. And same with everything else, same as that I could go in and edit this. I can also go in here. I can swap this out for my own logo. I can, change the project name. I can start to add more of that metadata. So you can really then just develop this as your own. And then same with everything else. You can then go and add that to your own library, bring it in on other projects, and really just customize it however you need. So that's how I rethink title blocks, making them clearer, faster, and easier to work with. It's not just about filling in project info. It's about setting up your whole drawing set for success. Rayon Design has made this process way more efficient, and it's now my go-to for building customizable, professional title blocks in minutes. You can explore the templates I used and start your own in the link below. Thanks for watching, and if this helps simplify your workflow, be sure to subscribe for more tips on drawing standards, design tools, and working smarter. See you in the next one.